before the Old Testament. God lives in heaven. He is our Heavenly Father. We lived in heaven with Him. We lived with Him a long time. He taught us many things. In heaven, we did not have flesh and blood bodies. We had spirit bodies. Our spirit bodies looked like the flesh and blood bodies we have now. We were the spirit children of God. One day, Heavenly Father talked to all His children. He said He would make an earth for us. He said we could go to earth. He said we must go to get flesh and blood bodies. God said we would be tested on earth. We should obey His commandments. But God would not make us obey Him. We would choose. We would come back to heaven and live with God if we obeyed Him. God chose some spirits to help Him on earth. They were righteous. He knew they would obey His commandments. They would be prophets and leaders. God said one of His sons would save the people on the earth. He would go to earth and die for all of us. God's Son, Jesus Christ, said He would go to earth and die for us. He would obey God. Then another son spoke. His name was Lucifer. He said he would go to earth, but he wanted God's power. God chose Jesus Christ. Lucifer was angry. Lucifer talked to God's children. He wanted us to obey Him. He said He would make us be good. We could not choose. He would bring us all back to heaven. Many spirits followed Lucifer. Lucifer and these spirits did not obey God. God was very sad. He sent Lucifer and the spirits who followed Lucifer out of heaven. They could not have flesh and blood bodies. They could not go back to heaven. Lucifer would lead them. His name would be Satan, or the devil.
So there's some very basics on the war in heaven and the great division between a third of the host of heaven and 2/3. A little more. This President Hinckley talked about the war in heaven.
Revelation tells us that there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. What a perilous time that must have been. The Almighty Himself was pitted against the son of the morning. We were there while that was going on. That must have been a desperately difficult struggle with a grand triumphal victory. Concerning those desperate times, the Lord spoke to Job out of the whirlwind and said, "Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Why were we then happy? I think it was because good had triumphed over evil, and the whole human family was on the Lord's side. We turned our backs on the adversary and aligned ourselves with the forces of God, and those forces were victorious. But having made that decision, why should we have to make it again and again after our birth into mortality? I cannot understand why so many have betrayed in life the decision they once made when the great war occurred in heaven.
All right, we're going to end that here and talk a little more about the war in heaven.